Where do we stand? I mean, it was a big deal. I mean, here we are, two people who everyone thought were, thick as thieves, publicly arguing. Where do we stand?
Well, I think it's fine. We just had a difference of opinion, and I do get where you were coming from, but I stand with my teammates above everybody else. So, but I do appreciate your thought. I do appreciate your approach to fighter unity. It's very important for us as fighters to stand with each other. But I stand with Khabib and Cain Velasquez and Luke Rockhold and everybody else first.
All right. Well, I appreciate that. And I appreciate you being, I know at the end of the day, you are the captain of AK. That's most important. That's the most important title that you have. Appreciate you looking out for your guy. I just thought you were doing old Tony a little dirty. And Tony and I have had our issues in the past. There's no love lost there. I just didn't think it was right what you guys were doing to him. That's all.
100, and you are fine to stand in the space that you wanted to stand. We disagree on that topic.
Okay. There you go. We can disagree. Right. Yep. By the way, you mentioned Cain Velasquez. I saw you tweet out something about him. He's back. He's back to training.
Oh yeah, he's back to training, and it hurts, but it doesn't feel. Nothing's felt better for a long time. It does suck to have to go in there and work with Cain because he's so much better than everybody else that has ever been around. But it's good to have him, man. Just seeing him back doing what he loves to do. It's amazing as a friend and as a fan of mixed martial arts, because when Cain gets back, you guys know what he does for the heavyweight division. He makes for some very, very interesting and fun fights.
When do you think he'll actually be fighting again?
I don't know. It's a process, like when you start dealing with some of the injuries that Cain has had. And I've seen this since wrestling, back and it's like backs and necks and all those types of injuries, man. It takes time to recover. And I think for a long time, Cain may have pushed himself when he should have rested. And I believe this time he's actually taken the time to try to let himself heal. And I feel like this will be a chance for him to make a long, sustained run. Much longer than he really has over the course of his career. He's had a lot of injuries at bad times. I talked to Cain about this, and it sucks, for a guy that was as talented and as committed to the sport. He's probably lost 5 years. And could you imagine what Cain Velasquez's resume would look like without 5 years worth of time on the shelf? It's so sad to think about, but I believe that he has finally got himself in a position where he's going to have his body is going to be able to match his work ethic, his mind, his ferociousness, his mentality, everything, and allow him to go on a run for a long, sustained run to kind of finish out his career.
That was a really interesting post, and it was great to see you guys training together. But to me, the thing that really jumped out was a little lower down, #, where is Luke? Where you just kind of slid that one in there. And then you tagged him. You didn't just do the hashtag, you tagged him too. What's going on between? I asked him last week on the show, what's happening here? Is there a crack in the team? What's going on? What's he doing?
He hates that, so I just keep doing it. I called him the other day. I go, hey, how you like Where is Luke? He goes, you're fucking killing me with this Where is Luke thing. He goes, I'm fucking getting bombarded by people going, where's Luke? He hates it. Well, I think it's funny, because he hates it so much, I just keep doing it. But nah, man, Luke's doing his thing, man. There's no crack. I talk to him constantly. We all talk to him constantly. We love Luke. Luke is down in Florida training. And we'll never do as teammates, as friends, is try to hinder one of our own from finding a situation that may benefit them better. And right now, I believe that Luke feels down in Florida, the situation is just a little bit more, it's a little bit more, it's better for him. When I'm not fighting, I travel a lot doing television. I've got a family. We've kind of, and Cain had been hurt, so just his training situation in between fights wasn't ideal. So Luke found a situation that worked for him and fell in love with it. So he came back a couple weeks ago and trained some. You know, he was home for a little bit, and now he's down in Florida. So he's doing what's best for him, and I applaud him for that, because these decisions aren't easy. You know, it's not easy to go and do something different. Something different is always difficult. You know, I've been a victim of that a lot of times over the course of my life. And I applaud Luke for doing something different and finding a situation that works for him. So we miss him. You know, we miss him. We wish he was home all the time, but, you know, for him to do what he's doing is very brave, and it's what's best for Luke, and we support him.
DC, how nervous were you when you found out about Volkan? It seems like the light heavyweight division is kind of plagued with these issues. Were you worried that you wouldn't have anyone to fight, that this guy would be out for quite some time?
I don't know. You know, I just kind of was like, just move on to the next guy. You know, if it's going to be somebody else, it's going to be somebody else. I really don't have any energy anymore for all these guys' extracurriculars anymore. You know, I'm not going to. That's like, if you're going to go to jail, go to jail. Who gives a damn? If you're going to get yourself in trouble, you get yourself in trouble. I didn't do it. Whatever. I'll just go on to the next guy. You know, I'm not gonna deal with that anymore. I feel like I have lost years of my life dealing with the shit with Jones in terms of the arguments, the fighting, the worry, whether we're gonna fight, when we're gonna fight. I've lost a lot of time and energy just wasted on things that was out of my control. So if Volkan Oezdemir goes to jail, or if Alexander Gustafsson does something and gets himself put in trouble, I'll just move on to the next one. That's what it's going to constantly be for me. At this point, they're all faceless until fight night, whenever we're standing across the octagon from each other. It's just a name, and whoever that name happens to be is who I'm going to fight.
So is it fair to say, as a result of that question and your mindset, that you've kind of moved, we don't know what's going on with Jones, but have you just kind of moved on from him at this point? You're not going to think about him, worry about him until we know what he's dealing with as far as suspension is concerned?
Yeah, and you know, it's a short amount of time. You know, it's a short amount of time. You know, because I don't know whether or not I don't know whether or not John Jones' issues or situation will be resolved before I'm out of the game. You know, so it could be. So all this energy needs to be dedicated to something else, and that's fighting the guys that are here to fight me. You know, I've been in this situation before, so I'm just going to approach it as such. Now, if he does come back, then yes, I will definitely want to fight him again. Nothing would make me happier. But until this suspension's lifted or whatever the case may be, focus needs to be on Volkan and whoever comes after that. So I don't know. I don't know what's happening with John Jones. I haven't given it that much thought since hell, shit. It's September. I've kind of been doing my own thing.
So last time we spoke, it was all real again that you were the champion all of a sudden. You said that you didn't really feel like the champion and maybe wouldn't feel like the champion until you fought again. Now that you're almost a month away, do you feel like the champion, or do you feel like you'll only feel like the champion again once you beat Volkan?
My mentality hasn't changed in that sense. You know, I like I told you, you know, was like I was on your show quite a bit right after the fight, and then after that happened, I was on there like kind of like back to back almost, and the mentality has not changed. You know, I do stick with what I said. You know, on July 29th, I was there. You know, I was in the octagon on July 29th in Anaheim, and you know, it was going all so good until it wasn't anymore. You know, and I lost the fight. So that has not changed. So I need to go out and fight against Volkan Oezdemir and beat this guy to feel like myself again. I feel like there is a stench on me. It's almost like I got pissed on by a skunk, and I just stink everywhere I go. So until I can get a really, really good bath, a hot milk or something to get the stink off me by beating Volkan Oezdemir, I'll feel as I do right now. That's just me. I'm a competitor, man. I know I lost that fight. I can't erase that memory. Hell, I still have nightmares.
You still have nightmares?
Yeah. Listen, I still dream about losing to Kel Sanderson in the NCAA finals. I still dream about losing the Olympic semifinals. I still dream about losing to John Jones twice. For people like me, the losses don't really go away. You know, they don't fade with time. They just stay with you, and they are what motivates you. And it's kind of crazy, but that's just who I am. And I think that's what makes me who I am. And that's what makes me able to do the things that I've done over the course of my life, is that losses don't leave. They just kind of stay with me. It's been like that my entire life. So, yeah, it's crazy.
One thing I have noticed, though, and I actually just got a tweet about this, earlier in the day, Alexander Gustafsson was on the program, and he said that he still considers John Jones the real champion. That's not to say that he's not happy for you, that he doesn't want to fight you, but he still kind of feels like Jones is the real champion. And I got a response from someone who said, no, DC is the real champion. He's the clean champ. And I've seen this a lot. When you beat Anthony Johnson the first time at UFC 187, I saw a lot of paper champ. You weren't the real champ, all that stuff. I don't see that as much anymore. Do you get the same impression that people have actually turned the corner and actually really do believe that you are the real champion, that they don't kind of look down on you anymore like that?
It's the most unbelievable thing that in a situation where I lost to Jones in January by decision in a good fight, and then in this one I got knocked out. I got finished for the first time in my career, and more people feel as though I'm validated as champion now than I was then, which is crazy because the result was so clear in July, and more people now are respectful of what I've done than before. And I think maybe that's because when you start adding, performance enhancers into the equation, it makes things look a little bit different. And I feel like maybe that's why people are more respectful. But yeah, much less. People are much more willing to accept that I've kind of done everything the right way. I've just fought with what I've been given. I get stuff like, oh, you're not 5'11". Well, I'm probably not 5'11". Oh, you kill yourself to make 205. Yes, I do. Oh, you're fat. You know what? I am probably one of the fatter guys in the UFC, even when I'm on my weight. I'm just not. I'm probably not. I'm not like the guys that you see out there. And I'm just out here working with what I was gifted with. And has gotten me to where I am, through hard work and commitment. I think people respect that more today than they did, because you see a guy that is gifted with a lot of natural gifts, very tall, able to make a weight class that most guys can't at his size, and just naturally has a really good fight IQ, and he'll feel as though he has to do some things that the line still has to be blurred in order to compete against that guy that just might not be 5'11", or the guy that looks like he is at the soccer game with his daughter every Saturday. I think people look at that and go, wow, there must be something to that little guy, that makes you feel like you got to do a little bit extra to beat him. And I think that's true, because if I've shown time and time again that it's not easy to get your hand raised against me. And he's the only guy that's done it.
I saw you gushing over Francis Ngannou on Instagram. You were just blown away by that knockout, yes, as we all were. How do you feel now about sharing the marquee with Ngannou and Miocic? Do you like this?
It's so crazy, too, because I remember when Ngannou first made his UFC debut, I was working the Fox desk, and I was just so excited about this kid from Paris, and I was like, oh, this dude's a monster. He's going to be ridiculous. And it's just crazy how fast things change. I remember I was in Canada once, and there was I had an appearance or something, and I invited Ngannou, and he went, and he was just kind of just getting started. He wasn't known, and he just kind of showed up to kind of say hi, and it was this really cool thing, and to see that this kid has risen so far in such a short period of time, I think it's tremendous. And then to fight with Stipe Miocic, who I have a unbelievable amount of respect for. It's just amazing. I spent a day with him in Cleveland, doing this show called In the Clinch.
What a great show, by the way. You did a fantastic. You are the quintessential host for that program. They couldn't have found a better person, in my opinion.
Ariel, I appreciate that, man. Especially being that, you did the show before, too, and I thought it went so well. But
that is your show.
Like, hey, it's starting to come back together. Oh, my goodness. It seems as though it's starting to come back together. We're going to start driving people crazy again with the compliments. But, no, man, walking around Cleveland, spending the day with Stipe, guy's a fireman, guy's a fighter, he's a father, he's a family man, husband, just A+, man, all the way through. It's going to be a great fight. Now, I talked to the champ the other day.
Oh.
I talked to him the other day, and because, we have a media tour. We have to go to Boston tomorrow, and I have to go to Boston on Wednesday for the on-sale. And I was trying to make sure that Stipe was going, too, because I was like, why should I have to go here, Stipe, if you live in Cleveland? Why can't I do the L.A. leg, which is nuts, because Stipe is going to L.A. for that part, and I'm going to Boston, which completely makes no sense that we're crossing the country, but I talked to the champ, and the champ said, I'm not scared, DC, at all. He goes, I'm not afraid of Francis Ngannou. There's no worry at strong style mixed martial arts. He goes, this is what we wanted. We wanted someone that people will tune in to see if he can beat me or not. He told me before, at the end of the show, I said, you win this fight, you become the greatest heavyweight champion of all time. I go, who can beat you? He goes, they can put King Kong in there against me and I'd knock him out. And hey, you got to fight King Kong, Stipe, but he's not afraid. And I can relate to how he's feeling, because I remember when Anthony Johnson was knocking everybody out, and people thought I was going to get my head knocked off. And the whole time I was like, I'm going to beat this guy, because sure, he looks scary to you, but he's not scary to me. And I can sense when I talk to Stipe, he feels the exact same way, that Ngannou just does not have the overall skill to beat him. It's going to be a fun night in Boston.
I can't wait. Two last quick things for you, DC. Number one, how much fun are you having doing this TV work? It seems like every time, like, of course, what happened at 217 with the Thug Rose, you're just like always kind of, I've said this to you, like, you remind me of Jim the Anvil Neidhart, the way you can't, stand still. The Colby Covington was just phenomenal. Like the way you were playing him up in that crowd. I don't know what it is, but it's just a little different. And that's no knock on Felder, who's doing great, and Dan Hardy and all these guys. But there's just something a little different. Are you trying to be kind of like the fan meets the analyst? Why does it feel a little different when you do it? How would you describe your approach as opposed to the others?
I don't know. I mean, I'm just having fun. Like, I love watching fights, and I have the job of going there, watching the fights, and talking about the fights. And I feel as though maybe I can relate to you in that sense that I fight, but still, I'm just like everybody else. I'm just over here enjoying myself. I've had a great time. That Colby Covington thing for me felt like 1980s wrestling, and I was not trying to disrespect Brazil in any way. It's his moment. Whether the crowd loves him or they hate him, it's his moment. And if you're cheering him, he should get his moment. If you're booing him, he should get his moment. And I just remember watching wrestling when I was a kid where stuff like that would happen and the crowd would just be going nuts, but the bad guy was just in there soaking it all in. I loved it. That was fun. The Thug Rose thing was all I could think of. Was like, oh, my goodness, Rose Namajunas just knocked out Joanna Jacek. And that's what I would have done at home. I would have ran around my house yelling Thug Rose over and over again. And that's exactly what I did at the thing. And the UFC loved it. The UFC thought, wow, that is a pure, that's just a excited reaction. And we love that we got you on the call doing it. So that was a great thing. Yeah, those guys are doing tremendous though. All the guys are doing great. I love my job, Ariel. I'm a lucky guy, man. I'm a lucky guy to be able to do the things that I do. I'm a lucky guy.
I like the fact
the UFC loved it.
Yeah, they do.
UFC loved it, so I'm going to continue doing it.
They should love it. I love the fact that you don't take yourself too seriously, and you're just having fun, and the enthusiasm and the passion comes through the television. I mean, it's very clear. One last thing. How are we going to, how do we fix the Justin Willis thing? I mean, the guy's like kind of calling you out. Like, what are we going to do about this?
There's nothing to fix, man. He's a great teammate. He's a good training partner, and he wasn't calling me out. I think he was just. He told me when he answered it. He goes, he answered it with big, pretty grace. You know, the grace of a grace befitting a king that Justin Willis is. Look, he's a good fighter. He's gonna be a problem for a lot of guys in the heavyweight division. And he spent years, man, training with me and Luke and Cain, and I think as he progresses in his career, you're going to see all the hard work come to fruition. He's a phenomenal athlete, man. Played Division I football, and long arms, very physically strong, gifted. I like Justin Willis. So, Ariel, don't go over here. We're going to end up back on bad terms when you keep asking me shit like this.
No.
Trust me, you'll have to quit, too. It happens in no time. You try to make me badmouth my buddy Justin Willis.
No, I'm just kidding.
It'll be fine.
That was my fault.
It'll be fine.
I keep thinking about what you said in the middle of this interview. It's like a knife in my heart. You said, you know, when the whole thing happened with Jones, I was on your show like back to back to back. I couldn't help but feel like that was like I asked you to come on too many times. Is this a burden for you? I keep thinking about you saying that. I feel bad about it.
No.
Should I lay off?
Well, should I pull? Well, it wasn't. It was me asking too much. I shouldn't have asked to come on your show so many times.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. At a point, you got to cut me off. When I keep saying, Ariel, I need to come on to talk about this. I have to come on to talk about this. You got to go DC. Enough is enough. You are not the co-host of my show.
Oh,
enough
man.
is enough. At a point, you got to tell me no because I just go on too much.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I truly enjoy your show, bud. Hey, you're the best in the business.
The host of In the Clinch. He's working the Winnipeg show, right? You're going to Winnipeg, right?
I am going to Winnipeg, man. It's going to be cold. It's going to be cold.
Yes. It's going to be hell. If hell was cold, it's going to be the opposite of that. He works. I mean, the guy is just a tireless worker. He's the light heavyweight champion of the UFC. He's co-headlining UFC 220. He's got a podcast, which you never plug, by the way. Plug the damn podcast. What's the podcast called?
Talk and Talker. Go to talkandtalker.com or search Talk and Talker on iTunes, Google Play. Hey, it's a great podcast. We have a good time. Me and Nick Swinmurn. Guys, listen to episode 10. It was the episode where Nick Swinmurn, who actually is a minority owner in the Golden State Warriors, he got his championship ring from last year.
Wow.
That was time. Dude got a championship ring from the NBA champion. So, yeah, it's a good podcast, man. You guys should listen to it.
Much love, DC. I'm glad we buried the hatchet. Good luck in Boston. Good luck in Winnipeg. And thanks, as always, for making time for us.
Thank you, my man. I'll see you in Winnipeg, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be there.
All right, bud. Later.
All right. There he is, Daniel Cormier, the reigning, defending UFC light heavyweight champion. Alas, I will not be in Winnipeg. I love Winnipeg, but I will not be at this particular show in Winnipeg. It's a great card, UFC on Fox 26. RDA versus Robbie Lawler. Santiago Ponzinibbio against one Mike Perry. But yeah, I'll be watching from home and I'll be enjoying every minute of it. And I love the fact that it's an 8 p.m. start on the main card. You know that makes me very excited.